A dangerous storm, and you need to take this seriously. Even these storms that do not have warnings for them as we go through the evening, please keep in mind that you want to seek shelter as these thunderstorms approach your area. And out in front of these storms, we're still looking at the probability of some very strong wind gusts. Let's take one more look at the live tower cam here. This is again looking out to the northeast as we switch over to the tower cam here briefly. Just looking at that wall of dust, again, that's out just to the northwest of the Lubbock area. Excuse me, that would be the northeast of the Lubbock area. It is moving to the southwest. You can expect some very gusty winds here in the city of Lubbock over probably the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. Now let's go back to John and Super Doppler HD3.
All right, thanks, Steve. And the National Weather Service apparently is going to continue the tornado warning for that area based on what's indicated on radar. No confirmation of a tornado, but it's still a very dangerous thunderstorm, as Steve was mentioning there. Probability has dropped some to about 43% for this to produce a tornado or continue producing a tornado if it is. But the Weather Service said they're still concerned about it. They're going to continue the tornado warning for about another 30 minutes. The most dangerous part of the storm is located 5 miles east of Girard, so it's still very close to the community of Girard. So if you're in a safe area, you need to stay there. It looks like it's about 8 miles north of Jayton, moving south-southeast at 20 miles an hour. So for those of you in Jayton, you need to be prepared to take shelter. Maybe go ahead and take shelter if you want to be safe from this particular thunderstorm, because it looks like it is going to bear down on the community of Jayton. So once again, all of those ideas that we gave you earlier about safety, we're going to show you those again in a minute, but I wanted to show you again, storm intensity is back up on this mesocyclone at about 11. That is very high. That's the strongest so far this evening on any storm. Maximum size about 2.5 inches on the hail diameter. We've had 2.5 to 3 inches with this storm. If you've got any vehicles, anything that can be damaged by winds, large hail, be sure and protect those immediately. Then you need to seek shelter if you're in the community or around the community of Jayton, because this is a very dangerous thunderstorm. If we have those safety tips, we'll put those up once again. I'll step back and we see them a little bit better. If you're in your home, hallway, a bathroom, a basement, a closet, if you have a stairwell, get under that. Do not go to the second or third stories of any kind of building. Get on the lowest floor possible. Any kind of interior small room is the best place to be. If you're in a mobile home such as that, you want to make sure you get out of the mobile home. Maybe you'll have storm shelters in that area around the mobile home, or if you have a storm shelter outside your house, anywhere underground is going to be your best option. But second to that, hallways, bathrooms, closet, underneath the stairwell areas, interior small rooms, interior hallways, anywhere you can get away from the glass. You don't want to be in the attic. You don't want to be in the garage, the living room because of the glass. The bigger areas are the most dangerous areas. Try to get in the smallest areas that you can. Turn up the volume on your television set so you can hear us and you don't have to stay in the living room or the bedroom. In addition to that, if you have a NOAA weather radio in your particular city around Jayton or those county areas, take that with you. If you have batteries in it, I hope you do. That way you can get the information constantly. But again, we do want to mention there's still a tornado warning in effect for the southeastern areas, extreme southeastern areas, really, of Dickens County going into Kent County. The real concern is for the communities of Girard, right on the edge of it, and particularly Jayton. This storm seems to be directly aiming for the community of Jayton. So if you're in that area, you need to be seeking shelter now. We were concerned about it earlier. We're very concerned about it now. We don't have our computer or radar indicating a TVS, but we still have a very strong mesocyclone indication with this. We have hail anywhere from 2.5 to 3 inches in diameter. Looks like the eastern edge of this storm is Highway 83. Here's the community of Aspermont. And again, the storm is tracking to the southeast at about 10, maybe 15 miles an hour. Last update really probably put it at 15 to 20 miles an hour. It's picked up speed, in other words, going a little bit faster towards the Jayton community. So what I'm going to do is I'll ask Josh or Steve to kind of give me an indication of where we are on the leading edge of the storm.
Film it and come back.
So, all right. Thank you there, Steve. I know
Okay,
Josh is on the phone there. All right, if you could give us, I'd like to give a landmark or how far that storm is from Jayton there, Steve, and we can zoom in a little bit so they can actually see the town. But this would be the leading edge of the storm. If there's a tornado still in this storm, keep in mind it's going to be right in this area. Literally, the leading edge of the storm is less than 4 miles from Jayton. If there's a tornado, it might be at the most 10 or 12 miles to the north, so you don't have a whole lot of time. You need to be seeking shelter, taking care to get where you need to be right now. If you have storm cellars, anything in that area that you can be protected with, you need to get into those locations at this point. I do want to mention and read what the Weather Service has right here. Let's see, possible tornado and or mesocyclone in extreme northeast Kent County. Could be a rain-wrapped tornado. Again, as we talked about earlier, in other words, it's hard to tell where it is. Still looks like it's a very strong mesocyclone north of Jayton, and it looks like it has a strong rotational velocity of about 60 knots, meteorological terms there. Anyway, could be a tornado still rain-wrapped with this, headed for Jayton. Now, I'm going to break away from that storm for 1 second and tell you there is zero visibility between Slayton and Southland. Very low visibility and blowing dust. It'll impact areas along Highway 84 between Slayton and Post. So, if you're in the Lubbock area, just a quick look between Lubbock, Slayton, and Post. You saw on our Doppler a while ago, and you've seen the strong outflow winds right now on the Doppler, but you saw on our tower cam a few minutes ago that outflow boundary creating very low visibilities near zero between Slayton and the area of Southland to near Post. If you have to travel or traveling in that area in the next 30 minutes, be aware of the fact your visibilities are going to drop extremely low. We still have that outflow boundary coming into Lubbock. We're not sure if we're going to get as much dirt and dust from it or not. Can we look at the tower cam? Quick look at the tower cam. We'll go back to the tornado in just a second, but this is about to impact Lubbock. Here is the second haboob coming into the city, so our visibilities may drop down very much, maybe less than a mile here very shortly. The winds will be increasing, and we don't know estimates, haven't seen any lately. It could be anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour. They were up to 70 miles an hour earlier, so we have strong winds, low visibility coming into Lubbock, so be aware of that. That's going to impact the city very shortly. It's already impacting the Slayton, Southland area, also down along Highway 84. So again, be prepared for a wall of dust rolling into Lubbock. Now let's get back to the tornado warning. Very concerned about the community of Jayton. It looks like the storm will miss Claremont. I know both those communities are in Kent County, but this storm is really bearing down on the community of Jayton. It is moving south-southeast anywhere from about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Leading edge of the rain is edging into the city of Jayton right now. Here's the community of Claremont, by the way. That southeastward movement is going to bring it right into the Jayton area very shortly, so we want you to be seeking shelter immediately. So track of that storm, we're talking about a matter of minutes before it gets into Jayton. So if you haven't gone to shelter now, I want to emphasize that you need to go ahead and go to the shelter. After that, the storm will be tracking out of the South Plains down into Stonewall County. So all of our focus right now is on the community of Jayton. If you're in that area, if you know someone around the community of Jayton, you need to be notifying them. Tell them to seek shelter immediately. If we hear of any information as far as where the tornado is or anything such as that, we will let you know. We're just operating on what's indicated on Doppler radar. The visibilities are so low because of dust and the fact that there's rain wrap potential around this tornado. In other words, it's hard to see it because the rain is falling. So again, this storm, and you saw that on the last update on our Super Doppler HD3, really just about in the community of Jayton at this point. Steve may add a couple of key highways there, and hopefully you're in your closet area. You have your television, that's great. If you don't, you'll have the volume up. I'll give you an idea of where it is. There's rain now anywhere along 1083 Farm to Market Road. It looks like on North Main Street there's some moderate rainfall, but the core of the strongest part of this storm is still north of Jayton. So I do want to emphasize, I believe that's Highway 70 that leads out of Jayton going to the north, and I'll double check that in a few minutes. But again, off the Cap Rock, indicated as North Main Street as you get into town. The main thing is the storm is still bearing down on the community of Jayton. You can see the heavier rainfall just to the north and northwest. So that storm system is going to be moving into the city of Jayton very, very shortly. There may be a rain-wrapped tornado associated with it. As it moves into that area, you can see the core of that storm a little bit further to the north and northwest. We haven't gotten any new reports. I do want to mention here, looks like a viewer, Ransom Canyon, and we're coming back close to Lubbock right now, a viewer in the Ransom Canyon area reporting thick blowing dust, strong winds, blowing the lawn furniture around, creating white caps on the lake. So there is very strong wind coming in with that storm into the city of Lubbock. That's the one that's going to drop the visibility possibly less than 1 mile here. And we've got Haboo visible from our tower cam moving into northeast Lubbock. We showed you that a few minutes ago. And we can take a quick look at that, then we'll come back to this Doppler and our tornado concerns. There's your Haboo rolling into the city of Lubbock. That is going to drop our visibilities very shortly. Looks like it's already in the leading edge of the city, maybe up around North Loop 289. As we pan that around, this would be Avenue A right here, so you can see we have another Haboo rolling into Lubbock. We're not sure what the wind speeds will be. We're estimating they're probably around 40 to 50 miles an hour. There may be some stronger gusts, but nevertheless, that is going to roll through Lubbock. Here's Interstate 27. So we do have another wall of dust moving into the city. There's downtown